And now a little story from the apple seed.
I tell a lot of stories about things that happened in childhood. And the reason I do that is when I'm normally in a festival audience, I may have children and parents and grandparents, multiple generations in one audience. And if I told stories, for example, about being in college, the little kids, it wouldn't mean anything to them. But the one place we've all been is childhood. And stories about things that happen in childhood still have meaning to all of us. And I guess I tell so many of those stories, sometimes people come up to me after I've told a story and they say, now wait a minute, do you have kids? Well, we have 3 boys. We have Doug. Doug is the oldest. Today, Doug is a clinical psychologist who works with kids on the spectrum and is a specialist in game addiction. He's busy, so don't try to get on his list. Well. Then we have Kelly. Kelly supervises research projects at Duke University, mostly with the hospital there. Now, there's another brother, but before you meet him, I want to tell you what those 2 older boys were like when they were little kids. Those 2 would eat anything. Cooked or raw, vegetables or meat, anything. Kelly's favorite thing when his grandmother would cook a big pot of beans seasoned with fatback, with pork, fatback. When he was like 3 years old, he'd fish that fat meat out and eat it right out of the beans. Oh, it just made everybody sick, but they would just eat everything. Yeah. Then there's their little brother, Jonathan. Today, Jonathan is a bike racer. He also is a trends analyst with Cisco Systems. But when he was a little boy, he was not like his brothers. Jonathan would not eat everything. In fact, Jonathan was a world-class picky eater. He would have been totally happy as a little kid if his complete diet consisted of nothing but plain macaroni and cheese. Now, when they were little kids, sometimes they would go spend a weekend with one of their 2 grandmothers. If they would spend the weekend with my grandmother, Grandma Lucille, she was smart. She always had plenty of macaroni and cheese. But if they went to spend the weekend with their other grandmother, they called her Mary Honey. She thought she could teach Jonathan to eat new things. And she refused to have macaroni and cheese. You think that worked? Every time the boys went to spend a weekend with her, before the weekend was over, they had to go through her cabinets, trying to find something they could tell her their little brother would maybe eat. That went on so long that finally the big boys they actually wrote down for Mary Honey, rules for feeding Jonathan. Here are the rules. Rule number 1, do not try to feed Jonathan any food that looks like it once got run over. That sort of wipes out the casseroles right there now, doesn't it? Rule number 2, do not try to feed Jonathan any food that touches another food. Some of you are like that, aren't you? Yeah. Rule number 3, never try to feed Jonathan any food that has doobies in it. Now, you actually know what doobies are, you just don't understand his vocabulary. Just imagine a very picky eater with a plate of something you did not get to choose. And you look at it and you start noticing different colors in the same food. Hard parts, soft parts, runny parts, stringy parts. Little spots and specks of different colors. All those things are different kinds of doobies. And you better not eat it because it's got doobies in it. That child could walk in the kitchen and smell something in the oven that he could not even see and swear that he smelled Doobies in it. Well, one weekend, it was their time to go visit that grandmother. And they got down there, and on Saturday morning, they got up, and she said, "Boys, what do you want to do this afternoon? We've got a nice day ahead of us." Well, they had been looking at her newspaper. They had seen in her newspaper that very near where she lived, in the Children's Nature Museum, they had these new full-size modeled dinosaurs on a trail through the woods. She said, "That sounds like a great idea. I've been wanting to go there too. Let's go right after lunch." Well, for lunch, she fixed one of her favorite things. It had chopped up raw onions in it. It had chopped up pickles in it. It had chopped up celery in it. It had lots of mayonnaise to hold it together. Canned tuna fish salad on top of sliced tomatoes on a bed of wet lettuce. Does that look like it got run over? Is that one food touching another food? How about Doobies? Jonathan would not only not eat it, he wouldn't even look at it. He covered his eyes up. He said, "I might get Doobies in my eyes." Well, everybody knew that was not going to work. So Mary Honey got the big boys together and said, "Come look in the cabinets, see if there's something you think he'll eat." Well, they checked out her pantry and they said, "Now, here's the deal. Don't let him watch you make this, or he'll know it's one food touching another food. But if you make it secretly and then give it to him, he will probably eat a plain peanut butter sandwich." Well, she made the sandwich, but guess what the trouble was? Mary Honey never ever bought plain bread. The only kind she ever bought was that seedy, grainy, brown, doobified bread. And Jonathan wouldn't even touch it. Well, eventually she kind of got mad because, you know, kids, if you work hard enough, you can even make your grandmother mad, right? And she said, "Jonathan, you're holding up this whole day. I'm getting tired of this. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put you in the living room with this sandwich, and I'm going to close that door. And Mister," because when she got that mad, she couldn't remember his name. She said, "Mister, don't you come out of that room till you have finished with this sandwich." And she put him in the living room. Well, he started thinking about what she had said. Did she say, "Don't come out until you've eaten the sandwich"? No, she said, "Don't come out until you've finished with it." That didn't take long at all. Pretty soon, part of that sandwich was under the edges of the rug in the living room. Some of it was behind cushions on the sofa. Some of it was actually up in a plant growing up on the end table. And the last little bit was propped behind the drapes on the windowsill. And he came out with an empty plate. "I'm finished." And they took off and headed out to see the dinosaurs. The next morning, they came home. Is that the end of the story? Several weeks later, a package came in the mail to Jonathan from his grandmother. He got the package and he thought, "Oh boy, I must be getting a present and it's not even my birthday." And he opened that package and you know what was in there? Wrapped in wax paper, dried up, moldy pieces of peanut butter sandwich with Doobies multiplying everywhere. And a little letter from his grandmother that said, "Dear Jonathan, I found something of yours you left behind at my house. I thought you might like to have it back." But you know who won in the end? Just think about this. From then on, every time they went to see that grandmother, you know what she always had? Macaroni and cheese.
Thanks for joining us for a little story from the Appleseed.